Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined only by Trevor this week. I am joined by Connor. You just won't hear him. I can see him. We're filming this. We're filming this on Friday, September 13th. Just a little heads up for you because we've got a very busy week of filming next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I don't know if I want to tell them what we're filming.
No, just say it's
You'll see it in October.
This is like the very first teaser of just like think about something that could happen.
We've got something on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that we're filming, and it's going to take
We've never done it before,
and it's going to take up our entire day, Monday and Tuesday, and partial our day Wednesday, and so therefore
some exciting things on the horizon.
Therefore, we're going to record Grip Lock today. It's also a good week for it because like there's an event going on in Canada right now, but there's not like any.
It does make me feel like a pro podcaster because like often a lot of the podcasts I listen to that are bigger, they have to do this quite often. And like normally we don't have enough going on. We got a lot going on.
We got a lot going on. We're really busy. We're busy people. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to look at just some broad topics such as the Disc Golf Pro Tour playoff check-in. This is a great time for it as the playoffs start this upcoming week, I believe. So we'll take a look at the playoffs. We'll also take a look at some tour card situations. Obviously, there's some other things with that, but we'll take a look at a little tour card stuff, a little Trevor's trivia, and then we'll also do a USDGC check-in because there's only a few USDGC qualification spots or opportunities left for people. So we'll also take a look at that. And then there's really just like two, but there was a few questions I didn't get to from YouTube and from Twitter a few weeks ago that if we have time, we'll get to those.
Just a little something.
So, probably going to be a rather brief episode overall, but
it's like,
we wanted to make sure you had an episode for your ears on Monday.
This isn't, like a steak dinner, but it's like a smoothie bowl lunch.
It could turn into a steak dinner. We never know where these are going to go.
It's so true.
But one thing we do know is that this episode is brought to you by Manscaped. All right, guys, this is the best time of year. Football's back. We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. That's where your inner GM comes alive, setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you the hero or the guy everyone ridicules in group chat. But listen, while you're over here making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. Let's be honest, no one wants to fumble their grooming routine. That's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra to taking care of those rogue nose and ears hairs. Yep. With the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that you'll keep you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. Join over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com and using the code GRIPLOCKED for 20% off and free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of the grooming this season. And the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra doesn't just stop at Grooming Essential. It also comes with 2 free gifts, the Boxers 2.0 Midnight Bravo and the Shed 2.0 Toiletry Bag. Premium gear to ensure you're always ready for action, whether at home or on the road. So again, get 20% off and free shipping with code GRIPLOCKED over at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code GRIPLOCKED at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way. Shout out to Manscaped. One of the longest running sponsor.
Yes, sir.
Grip Lock. So, all right, let's look at the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings here. So, GMC is coming up this upcoming weekend, which is Green Mountain Championship, and the cut for that is the top 100 MPO players, top 50 FPO players. Now, this is a cut after Idlewild, so I don't think this cut is necessarily going to be drastic.
I also forgot it was top 32 until literally today. I kept thinking it was top 30. So Eagle is actually right inside the cut line.
Oh, that's exciting. We'll talk about that in a second. But notable players who are, as of right now, out of GMC, meaning their season is over. This isn't that...
This top 100?
Top 100. Yeah. So there's not really too shocking names to be found here. As we get later, there'll be some more. But there are some notable names. Micah Groth being the first notable one up here. Paul Oman as well. They're in 102nd and 103rd. Andrew Fish is one that I think will surprise a lot of people.
Played quite a few events as well.
Another person that will surprise a lot of people is Paul Kranz. There was quite a bit of hype for him coming to MVP into this season. He is not going to be making the playoffs. So let's see some other players. Mason Marchbanks is not going to make the playoffs. Aiden Scott, Jared Stoll, Jake Wolf. That's surprising. Here's a really interesting one. Tristan Tanner. I think he dealt with some injury maybe. No, he played pretty consistently throughout the season. His best finish, it looks like.
As well.
Yeah, Zach Arlinghouse as well. Tristan Tanner's best finish this year looks to be 45th. No, he came top 10 at the European Disc Golf Festival. He tied for 10th there. But other than that, everything was outside the top 40. So rough season for Tristan Tanner, 124th place there. Zach Arlinghaus also rough season. Connor O'Reilly. This is going to be an interesting offseason because a lot of these guys are like Connor O'Reilly's a grinder. He's been out on tour for a while. He had an NT win.
Yeah, he won the
Iron Hill.
Yeah.
And so a guy like him, not that it's all performance based. I just backed out of
that. Just happened.
I swiped sideways, but not that it's all. Yeah, you don't want to do that on a laptop, on a MacBook. Not that it's all performance based or contracts, but this is something where as we go into the off season and you're a player on the bubble of where you might be on a salary, might not. This is not an off season you want to be going in missing the playoffs.
Well, the more of these formats and more of the structure they add to the Pro Tour, especially obviously we'll get to with the tour cards, the easier it is to get exposed for what you're actually doing out there. And to be fair, a lot of it comes down to if you're moving plastic and if you have a good brand, that's super important as well. But definitely on the play side, there's more and more it's a lot harder to put together a case for yourself if you spend the year on tour and it's right there. There you are in the standings. You miss the playoffs.
Yeah. Final notable names: Luke Sampson, 140th tour points this year, and then of course Brody Smith. Rough year for Brody out there. He played spotty. He picked and
really
choose.
Play many events.
And he DNF'd Worlds, which obviously that never helps because he got stung by a bunch of bees, but it never helps. Majors are worth twice as many points. So, but it will be interesting looking at all of these players on this list. What does next year hold for them? Because we'll also talk about a little bit later, but the top 80 is the cut for tour cards. So all of those players are also sitting outside of the tour card cut, in addition to sitting outside of the
the list I want to see really is who is outside of the tour card cut that didn't
still get the tour card next year.
That has one. I'm saying who is actually getting flip flopped out of one, and because the other thing is too with the tour cards. Now this is it's early days in the tour card situation, but like we've said before, just because somebody doesn't get a tour card, that doesn't mean they're still going to get into most events because of the ratings cuts and
we'll talk about the tour cards in a second. But I want to still focus on GMC top 50 FPO. Really, just 3 names to me, 4 names. Well, 3.5 names because we have Juliana Korver, Paige Shue, and Emily Beach are the 3 that really stood out to me because Emily Beach had a few really good events last year.
Yeah,
Paige Shue, never really has been able to get things going after coming back on tour, and Juliana Korver is at 51st. Well,
something you've probably noticed if you've scrolled through these that is a huge difference is with all the European events there is now, you will get there is a huge influx of European players in the standings. I really noticed in the MPO especially that would not be nearly that high up if they were just playing the normal
what
tour.
They're going to do. Actually, we can let's look at GMC really fast because registration.
Or maybe they would be that high up. It's just basically they basically made their mark.
But I'm wondering,
in the European events.
Are they who? Let's look. Tristan Tanner is registered for GMC, so that was a good question I was about to ask. He is sitting outside. Connor O'Reilly, another one. Jake Wolf.
What's that about?
I'm imagining that basically they didn't make the cut. But then European players aren't coming over, and they wanted to fill the field. That's what I'm imagining.
Unless they're pre-registered.
See, here's the other thing. Unless they're pre-registered, I'm sorry, but Tristan Tanner, Jared Stoll, Connor O'Reilly, I know those players. Andrew Fish. I just talked about Luke Sampson. All those players are just on the list. They should not play this event. This is a playoff event. It's Green Mountain Championship, Disc Golf Pro Tour playoff. You set the line at the top 80, unless there's an additional exemption. They're outside the top 80. They should not be playing this event.
Yeah, I'd like to agree, but at the same time, if you have an inherent problem if you want a field and then you have a bajillion European players that can't make it over.
But what's the problem if you go top 80 and only 60 can make it? Okay, you have a 60-player field.
They want to make more money.
It just goes to the purse.
They want a larger purse.
Then
that's definitely there. They
don't have a
want a full field.
Then don't have a playoffs.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. But I'm saying their solution.
I understand it. I disagree with it.
Yeah, I mean,
I completely disagree. Because now let's go FPO. I'd almost
because it's a trickle
Leah
down.
Senegini, I just saw, has missed the cut, but she's playing the event.
It's a trickle down effect of you have this many valuable Pro Tour events in Europe. You're going to get players from Europe that only play those events and take advantage of a different field. Whether it's weaker or not, it's different. It's mostly European players. And then they're going to get into this event but not want to travel. Like it's the trickle-down effect from all the European events. Like that's where a lot of this comes from. Because the U.S. based players that are already out there on tour, of course they would go to DGPT.
Then why have the
GNC.
top 100 line?
Maybe they either, well, to be fair, they've only increased their European involvement since then, so it wasn't maybe that way at the beginning. But also, I think that hopefully it's just them thinking they're setting a starting precedent, and this will change years from now. But
to me, if you're drawing a line in the sand, draw the line in the sand.
We've yet to. I mean, we've had playoff events in the last few years where guys get in, like they just fill them with like register spots. Like the playoff, you're right. The playoffs have meant almost nothing, and they already mean almost nothing because of the fact that the cuts are so far up there, like 180. Now I will say this year, like, okay, it's starting to get a little more interesting,
but it's not because they're not actually cuts,
right? But I was saying, I
want to make a list.
If you really wanted to make the playoffs really interesting, in my opinion, you would, instead of just calling it like the road to the tour championship because it's just the final few events, you would make the cuts like, I would go like 80-50 or like 60-45 and then 30. Like you'd really make it pretty severe if you wanted to give it that feel.
Because like the only thing that actually matters right now is the top 32.
Yeah,
that's the only cut they actually hold.
Yeah,
but even that, if a player doesn't show, they just give it to the next person down because that happened to someone last year.
Yeah, very true. Although not showing to that is going to be more injury.
Yeah, because it's guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money,
yeah.
So I'm not as worried about that. But yeah, I mean that you're right.
It's just what we're trying to paint a picture and make people like this whole segment. I've just
let go.
Stupid.
Well, I've just let go of the whole playoffs thing. I just kind of like forget, like whatever. When I hear playoffs at this point, I just think, okay, let's see where the cut for tour championship line is at, and we're getting close to the end of the season. I don't even think about the other things because I know they don't matter.
Yeah,
that's what they've done to me.
It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna just call. So
I don't really know why they bother. Like that's the thing. The funny thing is, they don't have to call it.
So
playoffs.
Andrew Fish, Paul Kranz, all of them, like they should not be playing. Jared Stoll. I mean, especially Tristan Tanner's in 124th.
That is crazy.
He missed the cut by 24 spots. He missed the cut by how many points? 91 to he missed it by 30 points.
There's a ton
for him
of European players.
He only got more than 30 points one time this season.
Are we missing something? Is there like an exemption of some sort?
I don't know.
Shouldn't be, but
why is it? I mean, so Brody Smith could have been playing this event.
But also, we technically don't know. Maybe they are just pre-registered.
That's true. Maybe they won't. That doesn't make sense
until they have a tee time. Technically,
so I'm gonna just put. Tristan Tanner is going to be my one to watch. Actually, I wonder if we can go on like his Instagram and see.
Oh yeah, is he there?
Yes, he's there. Let's see.
I'm just gonna stalk it down. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Let's see. Always want to put in disc golf.
You did that again. Did the classic. Don't put in disc golf for a name like Tristan Tanner. Like a
sorry, this wasn't how this segment was supposed to go. For some reason, I didn't think to check the old registration page. I just was looking like, oh, this is interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we checked it. He just has a YouTube promo 2 days ago.
Yeah. Not gonna help
nothing.
us.
We don't know anything. Okay, so we'll just time will tell. Eyes on some of those players, see if they actually end up playing. So let's just skip the MVP Open cut because I've now decided that doesn't mean anything. Playoffs are a joke. It's like plus events. What are we doing with our lives? Okay.
Perfect.
This is the playoffs are my new Silver Series.
Okay.
Except for they are Pro Tour events.
Okay.
It's just they don't mean more. Like Silver Series were like they're not Pro Tour events, they meant less.
Yeah.
Playoff events are just Pro Tour events. They don't mean more. Until you make them mean more, they don't mean more.
Excellent.
Okay, 32nd for MPO. That is a cut line that actually matters.
Also, wait, and do we also just see that the MPO field was only 86?
Only 86 had registered.
Out of like the potential 100. So like, are we saying it's that? Like there's
and
that
FPO,
many people they couldn't show?
FPO is also only 41 out of the potential 50. But I mean, if you look.
It's like, what is going on there? Like,
well, let's just do the European angle here, okay, in the top 100. Vino Makala. I'm going to just count with my hand. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is really entertaining podcast, huh? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 in the top 100. So 22%. But then outside of that, you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
8 in the next 15
That's
players.
That's what playing the European stretch did, basically.
Yeah. So basically 30 of the top 115 players got points from Europe, and pretty much only from Europe.
And here's the interesting thing, Hunter, is...
And it's going to get worse next year, because next year is going to be Worlds and European Open over there.
I think the Pro Tour, their whole idea was we're making these full Pro Tours because we want to give the European players, like the best ones, opportunities to play in like the finale, but nobody who wasn't consistently on the U.S. Tour, like I remember them citing that. Nobody that was not consistently on the U.S. Tour is even close to the cut line for the Tour Championship.
No.
And like they're not going to come over for the playoff events.
Why would they come over? Why would they come over just for GMC and MVP? Because like there's no point.
I don't know what's going on.
Someone didn't use logic and think through. But okay, this cut line does matter. Right now, Eagle McMahon last one in. Evan Smith is only beating Eagle McMahon by 0.11 points
Clutched up at Worlds
to be at 31st.
He's just clutched up in general.
Emerson Keith is also kind of on the bubble there.
He has a win, though. Doesn't a win exempt you? I believe he won, didn't he?
Did Emerson win this year?
I thought he won like sneaky Des Moines or something.
No.
He didn't win this year? I was last year, I guess?
He won Portland Open like 2 years ago, held the Fox Trophy.
Okay, so he's not exempt.
He's not exempt,
okay.
No.
Because isn't that a thing?
Win does exempt you, yes.
So is there anybody outside the cut line?
We'll look in a second.
Okay.
I'm not sure. First three out, Ezra Aderhold, Paul Ulibarri, Benjamin Callaway. Ezra Aderhold and Yuli definitely have a good shot of getting in. Callaway is about 13 points out, so definitely has a good shot still. Let's look if there's anyone outside that has a win.
Does Brad win in Europe at all?
Bradley Williams, I do not believe he has a win.
He did this year.
No. Double G, no. Yuna Heinonen. Jesse Niemanen is going to be one who's going to be... Is he up high enough? Because he had a win over in Europe. But I think he might be already in.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's in 43rd. So Eagle McMahon currently is out of the cut. So Eagle McMahon is the line.
Like, why don't they like update that somehow? Because right now it makes it look like
looks like the Eagle's in, but Eagle is currently sitting on the outside looking in due to Jesse Niemanen's win.
Unless they changed that. I don't think they did.
So unless they make it like 36 sneakily, no, it's definitely 32. Yeah. Other players who have an outside shot, but a very outside shot without a win. No, and it's got to be a win. Yeah, after Ben Callaway, Jake Ebenheimer is about 30 points out, so that's going to be really tough to gain 30 points in the next two events. He'd have to have a very good stretch. So now players who are going to miss unless they win, basically, Kevin Jones, James Conrad, Alden Harris.
Well, riddle me this, as we're trying to figure out who's out of it. Like, what is the difference of taking? Like, give me if you look on there, the difference in taking 10th to 40th, because I feel like that's a pretty reasonable. How many point swing is that?
So 10th is 57.5. This was a tied 10th at Waco.
Okay.
And 40th is 11.
So it's like a 40-point swing.
40-point swing.
So 40-point swing plus is very, very feasible.
So let's go back here then.
So who are the players that were within 40?
We have 412, because you can also jump up a little bit more, but okay,
Yeah.
412 is the line right now.
All the way back to like 370.
386 would be Jake Ebenheimer, 36th. So
like,
it just brings one more player in. Because Matt Bell's possible. He's at 370. That's 42 points away. Possible.
But yeah, but if you're Bradley
Williams gets back-to-back good events.
If you're Bradley Williams and he strung together like two top 10s and Evan Smith had two poor events, he could get in. So
yeah, but you also have to factor drops. Evan Smith doesn't have a drop yet.
That is true.
And does Bradley Williams.
That's crazy, man.
Bradley Williams does have drops.
It's getting really tough to make that.
It's a tough line. Now, an FPO, it's even a tougher line as far as the position, but obviously it's top 20, so the best players are in there.
Yeah.
So right now, the line, Emily Weatherman, very comfortably in. I think she also has a win, but very comfortably in points-wise regardless. 658 points. Stacy Kiefer's at 572 point-wise, so that is the line right there. Hannah Wynn's only 6 points behind her. Eliezer Mittling's 22 points behind her. And then Rachel Turton is 70 points. So realistically, possible, yes. Most likely Eliezer
Rachel
and
Turton
Hannah.
even playing in the States, though?
I don't know. She has been.
Okay.
But I don't know if this most recent stretch, she hasn't played from when she got back from Europe. Ledgestone on. She has not played.
That'd be interesting to see. Like, does she come to the playoffs to try and charge into the finals?
Probably not.
Well, but like it could potentially be very valuable, you know, like if you're able to get in. No
Rachel Turton.
Dang.
So but
she gave up.
So Eliezer Mittling's last player with a shot currently. Looking from the outside in 22nd right there.
Unless somebody sneaky wins.
Unless someone sneaky wins.
Shouldn't happen.
It's possible. You got Sarah, so on the outside right now, pretty comfortably on the outside. Holly Finley.
Allie Smith, man.
Where is she?
We gotta talk about that because she was supposed to be like next up, and did she win?
She won a silver.
Yeah.
Kansas City wide open.
And then she made that post. She made that post a few weeks ago talking about how she finally had the confidence to run like 15 footers.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, she must have the yips.
She has the yips
she
for sure.
Yeah.
Maria Oliva, Jennifer Allen, Madison Walker, Deanne Carey, Katrina Allen, Kona Montgomery, Sarah Hokum, Chantel Badinsky, Erica Stinchcomb, Cynthia Ricciardi, Alexis Mandahano.
Wow, that's really crazy.
Sayananda.
Wow.
We already talked about Juliana Corver, Paige Shue. There's some very notable names that are well outside of the championship cut line.
Yeah.
Now,
like we could have totally played the game of like who's ranked better, for instance, and like Lisa Fakis versus some of those names you just named, and like I don't know if you would have put Lisa above them all, and she's sitting in 17th.
Yeah. No, there is some. Like, I don't know if I said Jessica Weiss. I don't know if I started there, but she's outside too.
That's crazy.
Stacey Ronsley. I actually saw Stacey Ronsley made a post where I think it was Stacey Ronsley, one of the FPO players. Pretty sure Stacey Ronsley was talking about like they don't know if they're going to tour next year because it's just gruel out there. If you're not, because like. In FPO, you got to be making this tour championship and top 20 on the season. Like if you're touring all year, because a lot of players aren't touring all year. Like Kristen Tatar played maybe a little over half the tour, and she's in 4th. But you also had like Annika Steen. Actually, she played pretty full store. Heidi Line, decently full store. Silva Saarinen played mainly in Europe, but you know. So that's the look there, and then assuming let's just use this as we are running the tour. Okay. It is cutthroat tour card cut line. Mm-hmm. Okay, because it's not going to be cutthroat, and everything we're about to talk about, these next 5-10 minutes of conversation is going to be completely pointless because everyone I mentioned is going to be playing every event on tour they want to.
Basically, yeah.
But let's go to an alternate universe where tour cards matter, cut lines matter.
Let's just imagine this, right? Because the idea behind the tour card, let's just invite you to imagine.
Yeah, just think through
the idea behind the tour card is that eventually you'll need your tour card to play in the tour event. So think if we were 5 years, 10 years in the future, these are players would not get their tour card.
Auto. They'd have to exempt otherwise because top 80, MPO top 40 automatically get their tour card. There's also exemptions for if you finish at a certain place in tournaments. Most players outside the top 80 did not meet those exemptions. If you won, again, similar thing. And then you can also, this is an interesting one, this is how a lot of players are going to get in. You can apply for exemptions based on rating. Your PDGA rating can earn you an exemption.
That's crazy.
Why? I don't know. You can also apply for an exemption if you had an injury. That one makes sense. Like if you're way down in tour points.
I want to be a part of the board
that
gets to decide if you get your card or not based on your rating. I want some guy in Texas that's played like 2 events and is like 1040 rated. Be like, yep, you're in.
The other way in is the Q series, which is what I'm really excited about.
I want to see some guys have to dogfight in the Q series.
In general, what should happen is if you're outside the top 80, you have to go re-earn it in the Q series.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see some fighting.
80th place tour series right now, Nico LaCastro. Last player to auto get his tour card based on this cut.
It's just crazy because he's been one of those guys that has still, like for the longest time now, at least hung around. Like he's usually been like on the fringe line of the tour.
Yeah, he's had a few like 17th places finishes this year. He just hasn't been able to consistently get it together.
Yeah.
But okay, so these players would be not receiving an automatic tour card without any other type of exemption. Nathan Queen, Thomas Gilbert, Colton Montgomery, Chandler Fry, Drew Gibson. Drew Gibson, I think, is the biggest one to me. 94th place right now.
Yeah.
Linus Carlson, Andrew Miranda. He's had some good events there. Paul Oman, and then all the players we were talking about that are missing, should be missing this event. Andrew Fish, Mason Marchbanks, Aiden Scott. So, like, if the Pro Tour were to hold to top 80, get a tour card, no other way to play on tour, there'd be a lot of notable players missing. Will that happen? No. Because other players who are on the fence right now, Chandler Kramer's in 77th, Braden Sides in 75th, Eric Oakley in 74th. So those players would be players kind of like on the watch, on the bubble. Obviously, there's still motivation for them to play better just because, you want to make the Tour Championship, you want to play better for your sponsors, etc. But I have a feeling Drew Gibson's going to be on tour next year, even though he's in 94th.
It's a good feeling.
I have a pretty solid feeling that he's going to end up playing
He still
however
has a
many
very
he wants
high
to play.
rating for that.
And then FBO, it's outside the top 40. So that would be notable names: Cynthia Ricciardi, Alexis Mandujano, Vanessa Van Dyken.
Alexis just missed like most of the season. Is that what I'm seeing?
She missed this middle section right here from USWD. I think she got injured. USWDGC to the Turku.
I was gonna say she's way lower than she should be, and I think that's why she just missed.
Yeah, because her recent went 11th, 5th, 25th, 18th when she's come back. Katie Tati, I think that's how you say her name. Katie Tati. I don't remember how to say her name. I apologize.
Good job.
But she surprises me. Sayananda surprises me to be down here.
Like once again though, look at how many events she played at the beginning of the season. She played 2 of the first half. She played almost nothing.
She played nothing, basically nothing.
Yeah.
But I will assume most of those players are going to be on tour. So really, what was the segment we just went through? A whole lot of nothing that I was hoping was going to be something, but I forgot we're talking about the Pro Tour, who is in a very slow put these rules in place phase, which means a lot of the rules don't really mean anything yet.
Not yet.
Once the rules have teeth, things will get really interesting.
They're still teething right now.
The top 32 is going to be fun to watch, though, because, Eagle McMahon on the cut line right now, Jesse Niemanen in his spot. I have a feeling Eagle's going to play really well at GMC and at MVP. So I think he's going to have an easy path in.
It is interesting now with the Tour Championship. Obviously, like the way it used to work, you were so desperate to get a spot because your spot was pretty similar to everybody's spot. Like there was like the buys or whatever, but like you felt like you had a really good chance.
I guess that's
to win.
a good point. We can also look at some players who are higher than you might expect.
Because nowadays,
with the stroke head start,
like somebody will make a run, but trying to chase down Gannon and Rick and Calvin with their stroke head start, that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, Gannon Burr, comfortably number 1 player. He has a 130-point lead.
He will finish as the number 1.
Some players who are kind of, maybe in the offseason would have surprised us to be in there or be as high as they are.
A lot.
Evan Smith, I think, considering players who are on the outside. Like
you can go through a player. I can tell you if I would have said they were in the top 32.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to use any of them? Because like Eagle McMahon.
I would have. Yes.
Evan Smith.
No.
Emerson Keith.
No.
I think I would have said 32.
I wouldn't have said.
Mason Ford.
Yes.
Yeah. Luke Humphreys.
No, I probably would have said no.
I probably would have said no. Post Waco, I would have said yes, but Casey White.
No.
Vino Makala.
Yes.
Robert Burridge.
Yes.
Cole Redallen.
Yes.
Joel Freeman.
Yes.
Luke Taylor.
No.
Andrew Marweed.
Yes.
I think from here on
out, it's a bunch of yeses.
Yeah.
Rathbun, I would have said no.
I think I would have said yes.
I would have said no.
He good. He was coming off an injury, but
yeah, as I'm saying, he
had a question mark.
He was gone last year.
But yeah, the biggest surprise how high up he's been able to get is Luke Taylor in 22nd. Good for him. He's had a fantastic stretch recently. 24th, 18th, 4th, 6th. So 22 right there. And then let's take a look at FPO. We'll do a similar thing from the bottom up. Players who are
Nothing surprised me in FPO anymore.
Stacy Kiefer.
I can't even answer these.
Okay.
Because I literally, you could have named any name and I could have said yes.
I think the only
once you
player,
get into the top 10, then maybe I might have surprises. But beyond
I don't think the top 10 is too surprising. Hannah Blomroos, Annika Steen. Annika Steen, I don't know if I would have in the offseason, probably just because I wouldn't have thought of her. Natalie Ryan, Kat Murch, Ella Hansen, Evelina, Kristen Owen, Missy Holland. Really, Emily Weatherman, I don't think I would have said because I think she popped off this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she won DMC. She would have snuck in. Stacy Kiefer probably would have snuck in.
The Wild West.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a little bit of a check-in for you. Heading into the playoffs, what's at stake? Really just the top 32.
Not a lot.
I wanted, when I planned this segment, I wanted it to have the feel, but then the registration page really upset me.
Not confirmed. No tee times yet.
No tee times yet.
But they're gonna play.
Because also
Jake Wolf, he posts a lot. You could check on his Instagram, see if he's posted from location. Jake Wolf.
I mean, Justin Rozak is registered to play, and he's not even in the top 150.
Let's see. He's got some story posts 16 hours ago.
How does that make sense?
He didn't post anything from there yet.
Explain that one to me,
What?
Trev. Justin Rozak
Uh-huh.
is registered to play
Yeah.
GMC.
And he probably is playing because he was up in Canada.
He's not in the top 150. He's not even on the Pro Tour rankings.
Playoffs, man. It's serious.
I mean, I love Rozak. He went went to Liberty here. I know him well, but he shouldn't be playing. Does Brody Smith know this information? Because Brody Smith's coming to town because he said, "Oh, I didn't make the cut for GMC."
I think Brody Smith is the type of guy that if he didn't make the playoffs, he just wouldn't want to
I respect
play
the heck out of that, because Brody could easily be playing this event, is what I've learned.
Yeah.
But he's saying, "No, I didn't earn it.
I was a bad boy. Did not get in the playoffs."
So I mean, how small would this field be if we took out the players that shouldn't be in here? Because Paul Kranz, I called him out. He's in here.
It might be.
It might be 70 players.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just more upset than when I started. That's all. Let's do some Trevor's Trivia, fan favorite segment right after this messages.
Well, here's the good news, Hunter. Do you want to know a line and a qualifying system that is completely black and white? You either get in or you don't.
I do.
It's the USDGC.
That is true.
You either get in or you don't. Now, here's where it's not so black and white is they make some very random events,
like
qualifiers.
A tiers, yeah.
Like A tiers. So that is where it's kind of not. But you either get in
But you at least
or you
know the
don't.
rules.
You know the rules. There's a very simple list.
Yeah.
And so I did some time spent some time cross-referencing the Pro Tour standings to the qualifier list because I was curious to see just how cutthroat it's got. So I've got a few trivia questions, see what your gauge of things are.
Okay.
So the first question is, what do you think is the best ranked player? So this is the first guy out.
Okay.
Everybody in front of him, as far as to my best knowledge, is in. This is the first one in the rankings. What do you think that ranking number is? And then you can take a stab at the player if you'd like. I'm just curious to see how far down you think it is. This is mostly trivia for the sake of learning.
I'm gonna say it's I know Ulibarri's out, but he's like 33rd. But I think it's much higher than him. I think it's 17th. I don't have a player.
You think the 17th? Well, first of all, Ulibarri is in.
Oh, someone commented on YouTube. That was one of the questions they wanted us to talk about, is to go over USDGC qualifiers, because they said, like, what is Yuli's route to get qualified?
You just click on your tab there and just Control F it real quick. But I'm almost positive he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder.
Okay.
Portland Open. So the YouTube comment was just
so 17. It's 66th.
wow.
That's how far down it goes. And there's a reason why. But any guesses at what player that might be? You just throw a name out there.
60 something.
Yeah.
It's got to be a European. No.
Not a European. I'll give you that hint.
60 something. I mean, I would have just looked at him the roundabout way. I have no idea.
AJ Carey.
Okay.
He's the first, and then after him, it goes all the way to 74th, then to 83rd, then to 93rd. So there's some gapping in there. But a huge reason for that is, and for that gapping I just mentioned, is because it's all European players. There are so many European players that qualified
because all the European
events.
Yeah.
It's insane. Next question. What do you think this is a fun one. What do you think of the highest rank of players that are listed in the top 150? So it can't be higher than 150. What do you think that highest rank is that got in?
That got in.
Worst rank.
Well, there's definitely players outside the top 150 that got in.
Yeah. This is of the well, I don't know if there definitely is.
Yeah, there is, because I mean the collegiate national champion's in.
Oh, well, yes. I guess you count that.
Inside top 150.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 132nd.
Holy cow. 135th.
Oh, I was close.
Nick Robertson, you just qualified at D-Glow.
Oh, D-Glow. Okay,
Yeah.
I respect he got a qualification
so he just got in at D-Glow.
I was expecting it to be someone who won a random A tier. And they played one Pro Tour event.
So for the last thing I want to do, I have a grouping of players here. And there are only 2 players in this list that are not qualified.
Okay.
I'm going to see if you can guess them, because there's some that I would have thought differently. Parker Welk, Paul Oman, Drew Gibson, Chandler Fry, Nathan Queen, Colton Montgomery.
There's 2 that are not.
2 are not in.
Drew Gibson's not in.
Okay.
And Colton Montgomery.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Paul Oman, Parker Welk, Chandler Fry. Chandler Fry made it, ranked all the way at 93rd. You got Paul Oman making it all the way to 102nd. It's what I took away from it though was like it is insane how much spacing is created in those standings from the European players that just like I just kept typing them in and one after another they'd all qualified at the different European events. It's insane. I'm not saying they're bad disc golfers. It is just like probably a much easier way to qualify.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Especially because there's only so many spots.
Well, that and the like A tiers.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. The more European spots you have, the less spots there will be for the U.S. Events. Like they only have so many spots.
Yeah. I don't really know what to talk about with this then. Mainly because it got me excited because the YouTube comment, I didn't verify it because I was like, oh, I'll go look up the USDGC qualified and then I want to react to who's not in here because the YouTube comment said that Paul Ulibarri wasn't qualified. And I was like, oh, there's going to be some shocking names not qualified for USDGC.
Yeah, no,
there's not.
I was going to say
Drew Gibson, I guess, would be the...
That is
not
even
Kevin Jones. Is Kevin Jones qualified?
He is, yeah, but his is, I believe, an exemption from... So you got to remember is... No, he got in from Ledgestone, yeah. So you have to remember
there's also the top 10s from previous year
and the champions.
Yeah,
so like
I know the champions because you can actually go Statman.
But I'm saying like other than like the Barry Schultzes of the world, like maybe Nico wouldn't have got in.
You can see how people get in. So you have Barry Schultz, Paul Macbeth, USDGC champion. So you don't know he obviously could have qualified elsewhere too.
Oh.
But like Eagle was pre-qualified from 2023 USDGC top 10. Nick Los Angeles the same way. Calvin, Bradley Williams, Simon Lizotte, Isaac Robinson. So like they all open up spots of the next. But then you can see where people get it. So like Ezra Robinson and Clay Edwards, funny enough, City of Mobile Championship back in March, A tier.
I do wonder.
That's how they got in.
You know what's really funny? Yeah, I know. Well, and like I said, there's a bunch of people in Canada this weekend trying to do it. The one thing that's interesting is because this is a former champions tournament, the Masters is that way. And with the Masters, there's just kind of this unwritten rule among them to where, like, you just kind of know when you need to stop playing in it, and you kind of just take yourself out before the Augusta people come to you, and you're like, hey, man, you need to stop playing.
Yeah.
And, like, I think, like, Freddie Couples is, like, next up on that list of, like, the guys that are going to be like, but then every once in a while, they'll come out and shoot pretty well. But that's what I'm saying with, like, this, there's going to be some, like, obviously Kenny doesn't play, but, like, Dave plays.
Nate Doss doesn't play anymore, but Barry Schultz still plays, I think.
Barry plays. Dave
Feldberg.
plays. Brinster plays. Like, there are guys, and they're not ancient at this point, but if the field gets more and more competitive, at what point does somebody say something, like, if it's ever? Does somebody say something to Barry Schultz or Dave Feldberg and be like,
probably
hey, man,
never.
Like, you need to stop? Because, like, at some point, especially in disc golf, like in golf, you've got this club that you can really tune to your advantage, and, like, Augusta isn't a super punishing course. Winthrop is a punishing course. Like for an older guy.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just kind of like get it out there. Like, I mean, I remember watching certain players that were older past champions try to carry certain OBs that they had to carry and just like not being able to do it.
Yeah.
I wonder like what's going to be that year. So we're going to get some long Instagram caption. I can't believe I'm having to say this right now. But even after being a former champion of this tournament at the ripe age of 62, they're telling me I can't play.
Yeah.
What happened to this sport?
Someone's going to be upset.
There's too much artificial OB. We got to get off the golf
That was
courses.
very funny. Okay, well, we'll play a different game. We'll do a Hunter's hints.
Hunter's hints, okay.
Because this is what I'm going to do, okay? I'm just going to read some European names, or at least I'm going to assume they're European, and you tell me, did they qualify in Europe or in the U.S.?
I feel like I should be able to do this.
Okay.
I can tell you because I did a lot of this already. Most of them are in Europe.
Okay. Silver Lot.
Worlds.
Yeah, good one. I'm just going straight. This isn't.
Okay.
I'm not trying to trick you up. I'm just going down. Some of these players aren't going to be European. They just have a European-looking name.
Okay, sick.
Damian Trunke.
Europe.
California. I don't think he's European. He challenged at Reedy Creek. He just won an A tier.
That was the
him and Cam Rico.
You just tripped me up.
Let's see.
That was obviously not a European name.
Yeah, that's what I was warning you before.
Well, how about we read just the European ones?
Well, it's Trunky. I don't know. Could be anyone. Daniel Davidson.
Is it with like two S's, son?
Yes.
That was in Europe.
See, what's interesting is the Baltic disc golf champion, but they said PGA A tier. It was in Europe, though.
Yeah.
That'll also trick you up, is they have PGA A tiers in Europe, too.
The Baltic championships were in Europe.
Yeah. Elias Luukkonen. Or Luukkonen.
Had to be in Europe.
Yeah. Baltic championship.
The Baltic Championships were handing
Back to
out
back.
spots.
Just two. Those are the two. Roland Core.
Europe.
Yeah, European Disc Golf Festival. The other person to earn that, Raven Newsom,
I saw that.
qualified over there. Lori Lettinen,
He might have been in the U.S.
Europe.
Okay.
European Open.
Nice.
Lenny Kampinen,
Europe.
European Open.
Is there? I don't know if there'll be any. I honestly don't know if there's any other ones.
Vino Makala.
Well, he could have been U.S. He may have gotten his spot in Europe, but he probably could have also got one in U.S. I'll just say U.S.
Crocole Open.
Okay.
Jakub Simmerad,
Once again, if he got his spot in Europe, he could have gotten the U.S. So I'll just say the U.S.
Crocole Open.
That's not fair though, because like he
they both
he
could've.
would have qualified.
Those
in
were
the
trick
US.
ones. Timu Talakainen.
Europe.
The European Open. The European Open, I feel like is legit. Like the 3 Europeans got in there: Lori Lettinen, Lenny Kimpainen, and Timu Talikainen. And that was obviously a pretty, because the other player that got in was Matt Bell. That was a pretty strong field. They both, it was you came top 14, you got in, because it was the top 4, and that's how far down those players had come. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Dennis Augustsson.
Europe.
Yeah, Swedish Open.
Like I said, I don't know. I'd actually see if you could find on that list if there was any other Europeans other than like your Vinos, your Nicholases, like the ones that play on our tour that they're, because they don't just pop over.
Let's try.
They don't just pop over and play a few events and qualify.
Guess Linus Carlson.
No, I know his was in Europe and
no, Beaver State Fling.
Oh,
but he's a player that he comes back and forth a lot.
Oh,
he's a pretty good tour player.
Okay, so no, what shocked me about Linus Carlson was that he's actually ranked like 98th, and
interesting.
I thought he was kind of an up and comer. I was a little shocked to see him so far.
I don't know how old he is. I just always know him from that Latitude 64 commercial where he's trying to start his boat and the engine falls in the water.
That's him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Tuomas Haitianen.
Europe.
Beaver State Fling.
What the heck?
Came in 15th.
Just random was Beaver State Fling, was that a weak field? It was, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was in June. But the only reason it would have been weak is because players were in Europe.
Yeah.
Oh, it was also West Coast.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, good for them.
Anyone else? Oh, Joe Revere. Shout out Joe Revere. Qualified at 303 Open. That was just a shout out.
The 303 Open had spots?
Yeah, 2 spots.
Huh. Who got the other? Did Lucas Carmichael get a spot?
No. And Alexander Kraus got the other spot. And Jona Heinonen.
Europe.
Music City Open. Trevor, you're getting exposed. I actually don't know what's going on.
Just flip-flopped.
All right, final one. Niklas Antila.
His was in the U.S.
Yeah, actually at the USDGC. He's a former champion.
Well, also he won an event, so he would have been good.
He's qualified multiple different ways.
How many times? That would be an interesting one. Is like
how many times can like Gannon Burr qualified probably 15 times this year.
I was gonna say you would have qualified. It's because the line moves, so it's not really. I guess the question would be how many times did you stay ahead of where the USDGC line was? And yeah, Gannon probably would have stayed ahead every single event. Maybe like one.
The
maybe
13th place.
I'd say maybe his early 13th.
But probably still. Because there's a lot of places, people that are like top 15 you were getting in.
That would be a fun one.
The Gannon Burr. Is there an event that Gannon Burr wouldn't have qualified for USDGC?
Stay ahead every time. We don't know because UDisc used to give us that sick line and show us where the spots were, and we don't have it anymore. Thanks a lot.
It's true.
I miss that.
I do.
It was actually very fun to track.
It was fun
especially with like some of your favorite players and be like, oh, this is their chance.
Well, as we get into the playoff time, if you're going to be tuning in on the Disc Golf Network, be sure to use our code for a discount on DGN. Use code FDG10 to get 10% off your first month of DGN Standard or Pro monthly pricing, or use code FDG20 to get 20% off your first year of DGN Standard or Pro yearly pricing. Let's hop into 2 final questions here. These are one's from YouTube, one's from Twitter. This one I just thought is kind of... I'll ask a secondary question with it. This was from Jonathan Knopp 363. He said, "Do you think Innova could/would buy Prodigy?"
Could, yes. Would, no.
Yeah, I agree.
Literally zero reason to do that.
The only reason I brought up this question was there are a lot of smaller manufacturers, right? You know, the Lone Star discs of the world, Prodigy.
They might
Mint,
liquidate
stuff
them.
like that, and it will be interesting. Is like what would a company have to have for a company like Innova, House of Discs, Discraft to say yes, I'm willing to buy you, and keep them alive, not just buy their injection molding machines.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as like wanting to acquire their brand, no, because like I mean, the problem is whenever an acquisition like that happens, we know this for a fact. Like you don't even keep all those fans. Discmania didn't just keep all the Discmaniacs whenever they left it with Innova. Like getting acquired by another company, or like it's because it won't be subtle.
No.
We'll be yapping about it the next day.
Yeah.
So like that is the thing, is like the plastic would change up most likely. The only time you would ever do that is if you were looking for a head start, or maybe if you felt like somebody had such a grip on a certain demographic that you really like. If Prodigy had their claws so deep in like the women disc golf demographic, you're like we would love to have them just for that sake. It's like if Callaway Golf were to buy out Good, it'd be like, because we want control of that demographic and that brand, not because of any of their resources.
I think the only company that I could see, and I don't think this would happen, but like they're doing something so unique and different, would be a company buying MVP, where it's like they have a process. I think it's actually their overmold process is patented.
Yeah.
Where like they are the only ones that are doing that. But beyond that, like plastic's plastic. You know what I mean? Like even when Castoplast got bought out, you had a lot of diehard Castoplast fans that were kind of upset. Like the plastic's going to change, whatever.
You don't even keep them
because it'd have to be something proprietary, and like what most disc golf companies are doing isn't proprietary. Like they just aren't. There's not people pushing it forward that much. Now I could see a company like Trash Panda get bought out as a good. It'd be like good PR for a company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe
like they're buying them out to develop their environment, like head of environmental for Innova or whatever.
But then you already like Trash Panda loses some of that like niche.
No,
like,
they wouldn't buy
look.
it out for trying to grow the Trash Panda brand. It would be that would be a buyout of like a Innova PR type move. Yeah. Where you're trying to make yourself look better, not we want whatever they've got. It's just like, oh, Innova's now more environmentally conscious. But it would take something like that where you have a company like Trash Panda, a company like MVP, where they're doing something very unique in contrast to the rest of the market. So the Innova Prodigy, I just don't see them doing it because I don't see what Prodigy has that Innova can't just get themselves.
Well, and here's the other thing you got to realize is if Prodigy, like let's say they were going out of business and they were like, hey, we're taking offers if anybody wants to buy this brand. By them going out of business, you just release a bunch of customers into the market for Innova to grab up anyways. So like it's addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no way that would
It's
happen.
not like there are people who through Prodigy are just going to stop playing disc golf.
Yeah. There's no way. Yeah, and Innova with the lion market share of disc golf is thinking, odds are that funnel leads more to us than anybody else.
Yeah. And then Greg said, thoughts on post-produced coverage getting longer and longer and how that will impact live viewership?
Well, I haven't really had my finger on the pulse of post-produced coverage.
I mean, it's mainly they're adding the like chase card check-ins and stuff like that.
I mean, I would say if you consume post-produced already, here's the thing. Live disc golf has nothing to do with the length of the broadcast. I wish I could consume all of live disc golf in an hour. It's the fact that it's live.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change that. I would think if anything, what you could potentially have is if there were people watching post-produced that were only doing it for the convenience sake of how short it was, and it kept getting so long to the point where let's say the disc golf live product, they really streamline and it gets down to 2.5 hours, and the post-produced they kind of bulk it up to it's a little over an hour and a half. Maybe you get some people that are like, well, might as well just, if I'm already sitting down for this long, might as well sit down and watch it while it's actually happening. So you could have that effect, but there's certainly you're like live sports, and I think a lot of people still to this day don't really understand that idea. But like you watch it because you want to see it as it happens.
It's live.
It's live.
Yeah,
it's happening right now. Yeah,
yeah. It's just you get caught in the moment. It has nothing to do with time. Like people are like, I don't want to sit for 4 hours and watch disc golf. It's like, no, I'll never argue that I wouldn't rather watch for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But if I watch for 30 minutes, I'm watching something that happened days ago.
I'll say, I have the utmost respect for somebody who just like, the way I like to consume disc golf is I like to just avoid the internet and then just watch it at my own leisure. But like I personally, as a sports fan, and obviously it's different too because I work in disc golf, but even back when I was watching post-produced is I can't know that this has already gone down and I can know what happened and it's everybody else knows what happened and I don't know.
No, I
want to follow it. I want to know if Paul Macbeth, like back in the day, is like I want to know if Paul is winning or other players.
I was watching live scores.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to know as soon as possible. So I just that's just how I consume sports.
Yeah.
That's how it did.
Because I mean, this is not going to be a popular take with people who watch post-produced, but to me, it's the same as just watching disc golf content. Like if I watch post-produced
Right.
it's the same as just watching a content creator.
Yeah.
Like they're just it's not a sporting event anymore to me.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like me watching the Michael Jordan 1997 playoff highlights.
Right. Well, I
it's
think
the same thing to me.
People also fail to realize like live sports some of the beauty of it is because it is a slower product. It is a very leisure product. You can turn it on a Sunday afternoon and just have it on and then lock in whenever things get to that point. But because you have the dead time and you're seeing the stuff that isn't as important, it can just kind of exist. Whereas post-produce, like it is very to the point. But if it's a long product, especially now, you have to basically lock in and just watch the whole thing. If that's what if you're really trying to absorb what happened. Whereas live is much more of a it's on. And then whenever it gets down to it, and it's the stuff that matters, then you can kind of watch it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think post-produced coverage getting longer. If anything,
How long is it getting?
It'll make more
What's
people.
What's the latest Jomez?
I'm not more people become live fans.
The only post-produced I ever see to go back and watch is what the Pro Tour posts, so I don't see the
to be honest with you, if I miss a round or I only caught the second half of a round, I go watch those Pro Tour highlights.
Yeah, they're great.
They're a good time.
What is a Jomez doing these days?
50 minutes for 9 holes. So we're talking an hour and 40 minutes to watch the front and back 9. That's crazy.
That's closer than I thought.
Yeah.
And because I'm pretty sure those.
And that's like a consistent.
Give me Jomez Pro a 2017 video. Look that up because I think they were 30.
I feel like they were 30. It's
so
popular. They were 2019 World's front 9 was 30 minutes, 36.
Okay. So they've definitely gone up maybe 10, 15 minutes
on both ends though. So it's 20 minutes around.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find. I just went to their popular videos. 2020 Waco was 36-minute front 9. Seems like 30. It seems like 30 mid to low 30s was a pretty common back then.
So maybe just trending up a little bit more. There's
World Championship. 30. This is with the playoff.
Okay.
Legendary one. Yeah. Was an hour for the back 9, but they're definitely trending upwards because this is just. This is all D-Glow. Worlds was an hour long front and back 9, 2 hours to watch a Worlds round. That is kind of crazy. I wonder if that's a strategy of the Pro Tour to just keep making post-produced longer and longer so that excuse goes away.
Just blend it.
Yeah.
Could be.
Just you can watch it. Because also, Pro Tour obviously owns Jomez. The longer that front 9, back 9 is, the more money it makes. Personally,
YouTube watch time, baby.
As a YouTuber now and as a disc golfer, but as a YouTuber now, I don't understand the front 9, back 9 anymore.
Yeah, I will say, currently the way YouTube works, the longer the video, the better.
And also the views.
Because
the back 9's not going to get as many views ever. Unless it's something crazy happens. So people are going to click on the front 9, and you're going to lose people between the front 9 and the back 9. So it's not getting pushed as much. Now, it does look better because if we have 150,000 views on both, and they're both the same 150,000 views, I can tell someone we got 300,000 views.
That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is.
But monetization-wise on the back end, and obviously the thumbnails are criminal. The thumbnails are just.
I'll never.
Just please let me.
Thumbnails.
Pro Tour, I'm offering this to you. Okay, someone from the Pro Tour, if you're listening, I will make the Jomez thumbnails.
Well, that's the thing is Jomez makes good thumbnails, not for their tournament coverage.
That's true. That's true.
They understand what makes a good thumbnail.
That's a good point.
I don't understand the reasoning.
They're just not YouTubers.
If Simon Lizotte is on a lead card,
you need to
shove his face so large onto that thumbnail, it will get more clicks. That is as simple as it gets. And now, YouTube even has thumbnail testing. So you can put up the one you want as A thumbnail and put Simon face as B thumbnail, and it'll show you which one outperforms. I have a pretty good hunch.
Yeah.
And there can't be some player rights issue because the Pro Tour owns you and they have the right to the images.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Silas isn't in here, so we aren't going to be able to do a Silas Selects. Have you played the disc duel yet today?
Not today, no.
Okay, so let's just do the same disc duel
thing
that we did before.
Okay.
You give one guess, I give one guess.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Paradigm.
I know how to play disc duel, man. Come on.
Doesn't exist.
Paradigm's not even in here. All right.
That's annoying, man. You got to figure that out.
I am going to go with the Tempo. I think that they're going to try to be cheeky.
That would be very cheeky.
I'm going to go with the Warship.
Oh. Okay, Connor said Warship.
Unfortunately, that's not going to... Considering how close...
Warship's not even in here.
Oh. Sick list.
It's not even in disc.
They gotta get that library up.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. I got
I didn't get a second guess. You do not get a second.
No.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Connor. We got blank.
It was distal. Let's just.
Well, I guess we won't.
We won't spoil
We'll
it for people, but it
yeah.
wasn't tempo. Got a little close though.
Dang, it was real close.
Yeah, that was almost electric. But all right, well, we'll talk to you again next week. Sorry for the chaotic episode, but we got a chaotic week ahead. But we'll get the preview show out for GMC, and then we'll be back next Monday to recap everything that went down at the first playoff event. Big thing to tune in for: does Tristan Tanner and all the other players that aren't supposed to be allowed to play?
If
Find
there's
out then.
tea times, we will prosecute them.
No, we will not. We will tell you, though, hey, the Pro Tour didn't hold up their end of the bargain. They set a line that they did not keep. We will say that. Talk to you then.